Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Alcohol Free Vibes podcast. And it has been a few weeks since I posted a podcast episode. So firstly, I would like to say thank you so much to the lovely listeners that have contacted me and asked me if everything's okay. Bless you. I'm so touched that you even noticed. And yeah, everything's absolutely fine. So here's the update. As many of you know, I am working full-time as a recovery worker for a drugs and alcohol charity, which I love, as well as running my business. I've still got my private coaching clients as well. But I have decided that I am going to take the pressure off myself with my podcast. I love it so much. I hope you do too. And I will still be continuing to pour my love into making content for you for the podcast. But I'm just taking off the pressure around having an episode every single week. Now, if you've ever had coaching with me, or if you've listened to many of my episodes, you might have learned that I love consistency. I think consistency is the magical ingredient for any kind of behavior change, any kind of goal completion. And that was my one and only goal when I started this podcast, was to post consistently, and I have done that for is it nearly like 2 years. I have posted a podcast episode without fail every single week, and I'm really proud of myself for sticking to that goal. Now that my podcast has been going for quite a while and it's quite established, and that my situation is different, I've grown, I've got more things on my plate, I've just decided that I will continue to consistently post a podcast, but it will probably be 2 a month now. And I say probably because I've decided to let my feminine energy guide me more with my podcasting. So when I feel called to record a podcast episode like I am today, then I will. And it will be something that I've channeled, something that's meaningful. Or if I have somebody interesting to interview, then I will interview them. And I'm aiming for about 1 to 2 podcast episodes a month, and that they will be high quality, and yeah, that they'll benefit people basically. So that's my update. Everything's fine. In fact, life's great. And I'm still offering my one-to-one coaching, which is just such a pleasure as always. I absolutely, from the bottom of my heart, love coaching people one-to-one on stopping drinking. It's such a privilege to be able to support people in letting go of alcohol and watching people step into their true power, into their true magic. And it's just such a delight. Every time I coach somebody, I just love the whole process. So I do still have some coaching spots available. So if anyone wants to chat to me about that, then do send me an email to thrive@coachingbyannika.co.uk. Annika is spelled Anneka, and we can chat about your needs. I have also recently launched a intuitive tarot course, which at the moment I am delivering to 2 separate people on like a one-to-one kind of coaching basis. If anyone's interested in learning about how to use tarot to tap into their intuition more, then reach out to me, and yeah, if I can get a few people together, then we can run it as a course, or if not, then I can definitely still deliver the content to you on a one-to-one coaching basis. Obviously, when it's one-to-one, you get a lot more in-depth focus on yourself. In other news, before we move on to today's topic, if you are Shrewsbury or Shropshire based, then I am still delivering my Manifestation Plus workshops at the Wellness Atelier on Dogpole in Shrewsbury. It is such a lovely group of women. It doesn't have to be women, by the way. Like, if you're a man, you're still very welcome. But at the moment, it's a group of women, and it's just such a wonderful container to talk about some of the tests that have come up on manifestation journeys and working through those, and looking at some aspects of manifestation theory in a lot more detail. So if you'd like to come to one of those, they are £25 a head, and they are once every 6 weeks. So do send me an email to thrive@coachingbyannika.co.uk, and I can send you some more details of that. Or of course, you can go to the Wellness Atelier website. Just Google Wellness Atelier Shrewsbury and it will come up. So, moving on with today's topic. Today, I would like to talk about the topic of discipline. Now, this is something that you probably not, I don't think anyone would have heard me use this word before, because I honestly believe, and I preach and I teach, that's not really the right word, is it? I teach people all the time that when we get our mindset right around alcohol, there is no willpower needed. There is no discipline needed to not drink, just in the same way that I don't have to apply any discipline to not go outside and lick the pavement. I just don't want to do it. Like, why would I do that? I don't see any benefit in doing that. In fact, I see it as being a horrible experience. And that is genuinely how I see alcohol now. And that's how my clients see alcohol by the time they've completed coaching with me. So when we've unpicked everything, you don't need to apply any discipline to not drinking. We don't need to apply any willpower. And, this whole idea of white knuckling it, I'm just so against that, because white knuckling just is not a long-term solution. We only have a finite amount of willpower, and that is based on how much sleep we've had and how much glucose we have in our system, and it will always run out. So why am I talking to you about discipline then? Well, discipline and willpower have a place, and they have a place when we're kind of accelerating out of a rut. So as I said, we have a finite amount. And if we think about all of our feelings, they're just energetic gifts. And willpower and discipline are an energetic gift. When we've got some in the tank, it's great. It's powerful stuff to use to help us accelerate out of a rut. It's just that we need to have a longer term, more strategic approach, so that when that discipline or willpower has run out, that we're plain sailing now. We don't need it. We're good to go. We're on a roll. So the foundations to being on a roll, as I said, are about coming to understand that there are absolutely no benefits whatsoever to drinking alcohol. And that is what I've taken people through on my Sober and Soulful course. That's what I take people through on a one-to-one coaching basis. But we do need to get out of that rut. We need to get out of the hole that we find ourselves in when we realise I'm drinking way more than I want to. I don't feel happy. I don't feel in control. And, to the point where I'm now going to do something about it. I'm going to reach out to a coach. I'm going to sign up to a program, or whatever it is. With that moment when we say, enough's enough, I can't do this anymore, we're in a bit of a hole. And we need to accelerate out of that hole, okay? And when we do that, we have to start to make some changes, okay? So if you came to see me for coaching, the first thing I would look at with you would be, let's have a look at what your perceived benefits are around alcohol. Let's start to unpick those. But of course, it takes some time to uncover what all of the benefits are you do attach to drinking, because so much of it is subconscious. So that's a process that we start to move through. But alongside that, what you're asking yourself to do initially is, I need to stop doing something that I've been doing for quite a long time. And it's really interesting when we look at the way our brains respond to change, because our brain does not like change, even if it's good change. Even if we manifest everything we ever wanted, because it's unfamiliar, our brain sees it as unsafe. Your subconscious mind sees anything unfamiliar as unsafe. And this is where self-sabotage comes from. Because even when something that we really want starts to come through, because your brain thinks it's unsafe, it tries to protect you from it by getting you to sabotage that. So it's really, really helpful just to understand that when you are changing anything at all. I've noticed that when I have got nice things planned in the diary, like let's say, driving to another city to go and see a friend at the weekend, or going on holiday, or sort of social events, on the week leading up to it, I just think I don't want to go. I don't want to go. And I think, I don't know why. I'm not introverted at all. I'm very, very extroverted. And now I've come to the place that I have in my healing, and I understand all the things that I do. I know it's not that I don't want to go. It's because it's a change in my routine, and my brain doesn't like change. And I just have to go, it's because it's a change in your routine. You do want to go, really. You're just going to have to push past the discomfort of the fact that it's a change in your routine, and know that you'll have a lovely time. And I always do. So because our brain doesn't like change, if we've been drinking every day for, even if it's just for the past year, but for many people it's for a longer, right? We've been doing it every day for a long period of time. As soon as we stop doing that, we're instantly going to feel uncomfortable. Even if we're not physically dependent, we're going to feel uncomfortable because it's a complete change in our routine. It feels unfamiliar, it feels alien, it feels unsafe. It will make us feel a bit wobbly, a bit, like itchy skin, kind of not very nice feeling. And the reason is because when our brain has to deal with a new routine, it has to make new neural pathways. Now, making new neural pathways, that's a bit of a tongue twister. It costs energy, and your brain doesn't want to do that. It wants to conserve energy. So if you think about your neural pathways, they're like dirt tracks. Think about driving or walking down dirt tracks, okay? The more people drive down a dirt track, the more and more embedded or the more worn in it gets, the easier it is to drive down. You get track marks where the tires were, everything slots in nicely. And the more we use a neural pathway, like a habit, the easier and easier it gets to use, the thicker it gets, the easier it is to move energy along it. And when it's a new one, if you think about you're in the jungle and you are walking somewhere no one's ever walked before, you'll be having to use a machete to slash away the branches and the bracken and move it away so you can kind of make your way through. That's kind of what your brain's doing when you're forming a new neural pathway. It's effort. Your brain is literally saying, CBA, I just want to go the easy route. And the easy route, even if it's something that makes me miserable, it's easy though. It's familiar. I know how to do that. So it's important to recognise that however much you want to stop doing anything, drinking, shopping, lying in, whatever it is, even when we really understand that there's no benefit to not making that change, there is going to be an initial bit of resistance that our brain will give us, because your brain will be saying, I don't like change, this is new. And when we anticipate and understand that, it gives us more power to move through that. Because just like if you were walking through a rainforest and down a path that no one had ever been down before, if you were having to use your machete to clear the leaves, the trees, the branches, just after doing it once, the next time would be so much easier, right? Because you've already cut loads of branches away. And on the second time you went down that path, you'd probably cut away some more. You'd make it even more easy for yourself. And then the third time, again, it would get easier. And then the fourth time, you'd start to wear the ground in a bit where your feet had been, etc., etc. So the first time, the first day of breaking that habit is going to be the one where you feel the most resistance in your brain, and you're going to need to apply some discipline, okay? And over the first 30 days is when we need to apply the most discipline in terms of thinking about the bigger picture, thinking about our why, thinking about the reasons why we don't want to drink anymore. Why are we so excited about sobriety? Unpicking where we see benefit and dissolving those things and showing ourselves that there are no benefits to drinking alcohol. But the other thing is we just need to consistently keep moving through those times of the day where we would normally have a drink. Our brain wants to go back to a familiar routine, and moving through that. Now, how do we do that? There's lots of tricks you can do. So one of the things that I love to think about is, again, go back to your neural pathways. You can't delete a neural pathway. Your neural pathway will remain there, but you can overwrite it. So instead of just focusing on, I'm not going to drink at 5 o'clock, I'm just not going to do it. Start to think, okay, well, what am I going to do instead? I have a routine that I don't want to do anymore. I need to overwrite that routine with a new one. So design a different routine and make sure it is a pleasurable routine that you can enjoy and look forward to. For some people, keeping the ritual, as Janie Lee Grace always says, keep the ritual, change the ingredient, is really helpful. If you haven't got the freedom to change your routine too much because you've got family and work and things like that, and you have to come home and make your tea at a certain time, okay, fine, make yourself an alcohol-free drinks ritual to replace the alcohol drinks ritual. Or if you are single or you live alone and you've got a bit more freedom, you could say, right, you know what, I'm going to go to the gym in the evening now. I'm going to completely change everything up. I'm going to go for a walk in the evening at the time that I would normally have my first drink. So replacing those routines and knowing that every single time we do them, it's going to get easier and easier is helpful. But ultimately, there's going to be some discipline that we need to apply in order to do that. Okay. Now, if you're listening to this going, oh, I don't have any discipline, I'm rubbish. Stop that negative self-talk right now. We all have discipline and we all cannot apply it sometimes, me included. How do we overcome that? I personally have found the best way to be really disciplined, and I'd like to think that I'm pretty disciplined now. The best way to be really disciplined is actually not to overwhelm ourselves and to apply some self-compassion and to reward ourselves with positive self-talk. So telling yourself you're rubbish is not positive self-talk, and it's not going to make you disciplined. It's going to make you be the opposite. So for example, if I have decided that I am going to, so I did this actually the other week. So I already go to CrossFit in the morning before work at 6 o'clock, which I know is a bit bonkers, but I do. And I've not just suddenly started doing that. I have very slowly over time developed an exercise habit, and to the point where I can now motivate myself to get up really early in the morning to go to the gym, because it's just such an embedded habit. The other, 2 weeks ago, I decided I wanted to add in an hour walk one morning a week on my rest day from the gym. And I thought, I can motivate myself to go to CrossFit at 6 o'clock in the morning, but I don't know if I can motivate myself to go for a walk on my own because no one's holding me accountable. So I was like, okay, right, let's just try. And this is where I start to coax myself into doing things that I want to do, just like I would a child. So I'm like, okay, well, you're already really good at getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning to get ready to go to the gym. So we've already got that habit down. So keep your alarm the same on your rest day. And then what we're going to do is you're going to get up and you're going to start your routine. You're going to get up, you're going to have your breakfast at 5 o'clock, you're going to put your gym kit on, and then you're going to go out for a walk. And even if you don't go out for very long, it doesn't matter because you've started the habit. So when I got up in the morning, it was easy to get up, but then I wasn't feeling motivated. So I said to myself, it's okay, go and make yourself coffee, make yourself some food, just sit on the sofa for a little bit. So I let myself sit on the sofa for 20 minutes, drinking my coffee, eating my breakfast, and I was like, okay, just put your PE kit on. If that's all you do, that's still awesome. Just do that, and then you can sit down again. So I did that, and then once I got my PE kit on, I was like, you know what, I feel motivated now, let's go. And once I was outside, I walked for an hour, and it's the reason I was able to discipline myself to do that was because I didn't overwhelm myself. I spoke to myself kindly, and I kept giving myself tiny little baby steps, just put your gym kit on. Sometimes I'm like, I'm just going to put my leggings on and my socks, and then I can sit on the sofa for another 10 minutes, and then I'll think about the next bit. And it's by that step-by-step coaxing I personally find just has helped me be so disciplined. You know, when we don't want to do things, it's like our inner toddler is kicking off, and our inner adult has to go, it's okay, you're all right, come on. When toddlers are kicking off, if you scream at them, they usually get worse, right? And we are no different. When our inner toddler kicks off, we start bullying ourselves, telling ourselves we're rubbish, telling ourselves we don't have any discipline. We just end up going, stuff it, and then doing the opposite of what we set out to do. So when you notice your inner toddler is kicking off, when you're trying to do something that you know you want to do, the best way to apply discipline is to talk to yourself in a loving way and give yourself a baby step and say, okay, let's just do this. Let's just do this. And before you know it, you will have done the thing you want to do. And even if you apply that discipline, a discipline and that positive self-talk, but you only do half of it. Let's say I had put my PE kit on and I'd gone outside and I'd walked to the end of the road and then I'd come home again. I'd be saying to myself still, that's awesome because you started that habit now. So next time you can walk a bit further. You know you can get up and get yourself outside. So that's so good. And this is how, over time, we can become more and more disciplined through not overwhelming ourselves, through baby steps, and through coaxing ourselves into doing things. I do it with work as well. Sometimes if I've got a workshop to plan and I'm having a lazy Sunday morning and I don't want to do it, I say, okay, well, if you just open up your laptop and start a new PowerPoint and put the title on, then that's cool. Then we're going to have a break. And then if I do stop, then within 20 minutes, I'm like, well, just do one more slide. And then I'll just be like, okay, fine, I'll do one more slide and then I'm going to go out or whatever. And honestly, I have got so many big things done just by doing that, by doing tiny, tiny little steps at a time. So discipline, I think, has got like connotations of, it's like a scary word, isn't it? Be disciplined. It makes me think of like a cross police officer or cross army officer. And it can make us kind of feel dysregulated or scared. But I actually think discipline is a really, really positive, loving word. And let's reframe it and call it loving discipline. Because when we apply loving discipline, like a loving patient parent would to a toddler that doesn't want to do something, that's when we can achieve great, great things. And it's important to recognise that when we're making any behaviour change, especially alcohol, but any behaviour change, whether it's going to the gym, whether it's saving money, whatever it is, food, anything, we do need to apply discipline at the start while we're building that habit. And the positive thing to remember is that once we've built that habit, we don't need as much discipline. Once we've built the habit, we can focus on mindset, we can focus on making that experience as positive as possible, etc., etc. But we need discipline to accelerate out of the rut. And actually, once we've reached like what I would call solid sobriety, so I say solid sobriety by, meaning when we just feel totally secure in the fact that we will never drink again, we have no desire to, it feels like the most blissful thing ever. Even then, we still want to be applying loving discipline. There are three, if we're thinking about relapse prevention, and again, I feel like we do get to a point where we don't necessarily need to think about worrying about relapsing, but I think everyone is different, and I still think these 3 steps are so helpful, even if we think we'd never relapse because we know we don't want to drink. The 3 stages of relapse are called stage 1, emotional relapse, stage 2, mental relapse, and stage 3, physical relapse. So stage 1, emotional relapse, is just where we have stopped meeting our emotional needs. We've stopped looking after ourselves. We're not applying the right self-care. And what happens is that will push us into stage 2, which is mental relapse. Now, mental relapse is when we're starting to think about, maybe I could have a drink and it would make me feel better. And actually, that mental relapse could be to do with anything that you were numbing out with. So you might be starting to fantasize about binge eating, if that's a thing for you, or doing other drugs. Or anything, gambling, anything that you use to numb out. The mental relapse is when we're starting to think, maybe if I just did that thing, I'd feel better. And then physical relapse is when we actually then do that thing. So emotional relapse is a really helpful thing to kind of apply discipline around preventing. And even if you've never tried alcohol in your life, even if you've never tried drugs, even if you don't feel that you do numb out on things, focusing on preventing emotional relapse is basically just focusing on prioritising our self-care, prioritising checking in with our emotional needs and making sure we are meeting them. And when we prioritise this, we are protecting ourselves from any kind of relapse, any kind of numbing out that's not going to make us feel good, any kind of behaviour that's maladaptive. We are protecting ourselves from that. And we need to apply discipline. We need to apply discipline to stick to our morning routines, or to get our journal out, to patiently ask ourselves, like, oh, I don't feel that good today. Like, why? What's wrong? Like, what do I need? And again, I'm hoping that it kind of sounds aligned to you, that we would put the adjective loving discipline, like loving in front of the word discipline there, because this is all coming from a place of loving yourself and meeting your needs. So discipline does not have to be a scary word. Discipline is a way of showing up for ourselves, a way of loving ourselves, and it's a way of like stamping our feet and commanding what we deserve. And you know what? Like, I have my alarm go off at 5 o'clock every morning, and I am really good at getting up at 5. But there's always a part of me that is like, oh, I just love to lie in bed. And whenever I wake up at 5, whenever the alarm goes off, I always hear that word in my head: discipline, Annika. And I love it. That literally makes me bounce out of bed. I'm like, I'm disciplined. I have discipline. I love myself enough to have discipline. This discipline is not about me bullying myself. This discipline is how deeply I love myself, how deeply I care about manifesting the life I want. This is not a discipline that creates resistance. This is not manic manifesting. This is a discipline that looks like me showing up for myself in the ways that I need to. So I hope this resonated with you. I hope you found this helpful. If you want to talk about discipline and its place in your sobriety or in your life with me, then of course I'm always happy to chat about these things. Send me an email or a DM. And of course, if you'd like to discuss one-to-one coaching with me, or if you're interested in my intuitive tarot course, then please send me an email to thrive@coachingbyannika.co.uk. And I will speak to you all very soon. Have a good Easter.